Hi students, today's topic is rolling motion. So what is this rolling motion? The combination of rotational motion and translatory motion is known as a rolling motion. Here, if you consider the rotational motion of a body, now let me take one disc here. When the disc is rotating about its own axis here, let us say it is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Only it is rotating, not moving along a straight line or not moving along this path. It is rotating only at this point, about this point O. Now, if you take the point A here, B here, C here, D here, this is point C, this is point B, this is point A, this is point D. If you consider these points here, now this is the point of contact between the surface and this rotating body. Now in this case, if you consider these points after a small interval of time, let us say after delta t time, point A reaches this, point B reaches this position, point C will move here. So let me draw the same diagram after a time period delta t. Now this A will reach this point, B will come here, C will come here, D will come here. But this disc is rotating with the same angular velocity omega about that fixed point O, that is the axis. So this is a rotation of a body. What is meant by translatory motion? Same body. If the body, a similar body, but now it is not a disc, let me take a block here. So if you pull this block in this direction or if you push this one with some force, this will move from here to here. I am not going to show the three-dimensional diagram here. What I am going to show, I am going to show only the front face of this body. So like this. Now, if you push it with a force F, what happens? After some time, here, after delta t time, the position of these points have changed in this body. But here, let me take this is A, B, C, D. In translatory motion, after some time, if you take this body here, like this, now the position of A will be there only, position of B will be this one only, C and D. That means the respective or the relative position of the body is not changing in a translatory motion. So this actually we could call it as slipping of body also. Why we could call it as slipping of a body? Why? Because here the body is not rotating, it is just slipping over the surface without changing the respective points. Here, what is the point of contact with this bottom surface? Here A. Here, the point of contact with the surface is A only on left side. On right side, the point of contact is named as B here. This is point of contact. This is also named as B. So, if the point of contact of a body with the surface is not changing, then we call it as a slipping. So, what is meant by slipping? If the point of contact or contacts of a body does not changes with the surface, then the body is said to be slipping. Let me combine this rotation as well as this translatory motion. So this is a surface on which a body is placed like this. So let me take it as a disc. Now this is the axis of rotation of this disc. We know that as it has both the translatory as well as the rotational motion, the velocity of center of mass of this body will become VCM. So here VCM is velocity of center of mass of this disc. Now let me consider some points here. This is P1. Let me take this as P2. This is P3. This is P4. This is Pi, that is point inside the disc, within the disc. Now, what is the velocity of center of mass of this particle? As the disc is moving like this, in translatory motion, each and every particle will move with the same constant linear velocity. So the velocity of this particle is VCM here. Velocity of this particle is also VCM. Velocity of this particle also VCM. Velocity of this particle also VCM. In translatory motion, each and every particle will have same velocity in the same direction. Now, what about the rotational velocity, as it is not only in translatory motion, it is also in rotational motion. So what is the velocity of rotation? The velocity of a body in rotational motion is given by V is equal to, we know the relation between V and omega, which is equal to R omega. Now, as it is at a distance of R from the center O, this point P1 is a distance of R. So as it is rotating with a velocity omega, so what is the velocity of this P1 particle, that is rotational velocity? So Vp1 rotation is given by R omega. What is the velocity of this one? The velocity, linear velocity of this particle due to rotation is always tangential. This is V rotation. Here, this is the radius, this is a V rotation. And for this, this is the radius. So this velocity is always perpendicular to the radius vector. So now let me explain the velocity of different particles P1, P2, P3, P4 and Pi here. So for P1, both linear velocity due to translatory motion, linear velocity due to rotational motion are acting in the same direction. So for P1, the net velocity is given by V center of mass, that is velocity of the particle at the center of mass, that is due to translatory motion, and now V rotation, which is given by VCM plus this is R omega. So this is for particle P1. Now let me take particle P2 here. Here VCM, V rotation are perpendicular to each other. So the resultant velocity, if you consider these two as vectors, this will become the velocity of the particle P2. So this is given by root over VCM square plus V rotation square. Now here the interesting point is for P3, you can see the velocity of center of mass due to translatory motion or VCM is in this direction. The linear velocity due to rotation is in the opposite direction. Here these two are acting in opposite direction. So what is V net at point P3? This is VCM in forward direction minus V rotation, because this is opposite to this. Now when it is rotating like this in clockwise direction, so it is going to have rotational motion as well as translatory motion. So what is the condition for this body to have this rolling motion, the combination of these two, without slipping? That means it should not slip here. So this point has to change. Here for translatory motion, that means slipping, A is constant, but here this point should move here. This point should come here. So for this, so not to have slipping, that means rolling without slipping is called pure rolling. This we call it as pure rolling motion. So what is the condition for pure rolling motion? So for pure rolling motion, the condition is the point of contact of the body with the surface on which it is rolling should be at rest. So point of contact with surface should be 0. That means these two, the sum of these two must be equal to 0. Then this point is said to be at rest. So here I am going to write this will be 0. So we can write VCM is equal V rotational. So magnitude wise we know that V rotational is equal to R omega. So VCM is also equal to R omega. Now based on this, now I can write what is the total velocity here. This is R omega, this is also R omega. So I can write 2R omega. The velocity at point P1, this is 2R omega. Here this is R omega, this is R omega. So this will become root 2 r omega. For P3, the net velocity is 0, and here also this is root 2 r omega, but in the different direction. But what about this particle P1 within the disk here? Now we can say that this is VCM always. The velocity of center of mass is given by VCM because all particles will move with the same velocity. And here, how to take the radius vector here? Now here I am not going to take the radius vector here. This is the radius vector. For this particle, this is the radius vector. Now it should be perpendicular. And what is its value? The value of this one is, this is a small r, already denoted this one. Let me take this as a x. So this will become x omega, because angular velocity will not change here, omega. Omega will not change, but the distance of this particle from the center of or axis of rotation is x. So this is x omega. So what is the velocity of this particle, resultant velocity? Here we have VCM, we have x omega, that is v rotational. Resultant is given by this diagonal. So this is a VPI. So what is VPI? This is given by the vector sum of VCM bar plus x omega bar, x bar cross omega bar. So you can find this value by using the cross product. But this velocity, resultant velocity, is perpendicular to the instantaneous axis of rotation. So when the body is rotating like this body is rotating about this axis. But as it is fixed here, so this point P3 is also known as instantaneous axis of rotation. The point about which this body appears to rotate is called instantaneous axis of rotation. But means this is rotating about this point now. So it is rotating like this. This particle is rotating like this. So this line that joins this PI with this one, this is called radius of the instantaneous axis of rotation. How to find the kinetic energy of a rolling body? Now, if a body is rolling on a surface here, this is a body which is rolling on a surface. So just now we discussed that it will have two types of velocities. One is velocity due to translatory motion and velocity due to a rotational motion. So what is the total kinetic energy of a body in rolling? So kinetic energy of a rolling body is given by the sum of the kinetic energy of the body due to translation motion plus kinetic energy of the body due to rotational motion. So this is rolling, sum of translation and rotational motion. So what is the kinetic energy of a body in translatory motion? We know that formula, half mv square. And what is the kinetic energy of a body in rotational motion? This will become half I omega square. Now we can convert this half mv square in terms of I and omega, or we can convert to half I omega square in terms of half mv square. As we are familiar with this one, so let me keep this as half mv square only. So this will become half. What is I? Moment of inertia. If it is a ring, mr square. If it is a disc, mr square by 2. If it is a sphere, 2 by 5 mr square solid sphere. For hollow sphere, 2 by 3 mr square. So let me write moment of inertia of the ring about that axis passing through center and perpendicular to the plane. For ring, this is mr square. Moment of inertia of a disc about the center of mass passing through the perpendicular to the plane is mr square by 2. Moment of inertia of a solid sphere, 2 by 5 mr square. Moment of inertia of a hollow sphere, this is solid sphere, 2 by 3 mr square. So these are the different formulas. Now this is equal to, we know that moment of inertia is the product of mass of the bond and the square of the radius of gyration. So this is also mk square. This is also mk square. This is also mk square. Now you can cancel this m and m, m and m, m and m and m and m here. So what is the k value here? R square is equal to k square. So k means equal to I. So for ring, the radius of gyration is given by, K is equal to R, because K is equal to R square. Now for a disk, what is the radius of gyration? You can see K square is equal to R square by 2, K is equal to R by root 2. So the radius of gyration for a disk is R by root 2. The moment of inertia is for a solid sphere is 2 by 5 R square. If you cancel this one, K square is equal to 2 by 5 R square, and K will become root 2 by 5 R. This is K value for solid sphere. Now for hollow sphere, the K value is given by root 2 by 3 R. That means the radius of gyration changes from body to body. Here, in place of I, if I write mr square, then you can use this formula only for ring. If I write mr square by 2, then I can use this expression only for a disk. That's why, as a common, what I am going to write, so I am going to derive a common equation half m k square into omega. So we know that V is equal to R omega, omega is equal to V by R, so V by this R whole square. Now here half mv square, this is half, let me take this is also small m only, half mv square will be common, 1 plus, you can see half mv square here, the remaining terms are k square by R square. So this is the total kinetic energy of a rolling body. Let us say one body is rolling on an inclined plane. This is an inclined plane of inclination theta. Height is h, length of this one is L. So let us say this is along x-axis, the distance, base length is x. Now here one object is rolling down from the top of the inclined plane. It may be a ring or disc or cylinder, hollow or solid cylinder, or maybe a sphere, anything. Now, when it reaches this point, the bottom of the inclined plane, so let me take this as A, B, C. When it is released at A, let us say it reached point C with some velocity. The velocity of the body on reaching the ground is V. Here, as it is released, the velocity of this one at A is 0. Now, we know that the energy of this body never changes, it remains constant, but some part of its energy may be converted into other form of energy, but the energy gained by this body, energy of this body at A must be equal to energy of this body at B. So the energy of the body, that is total energy of the body at A, is equal to total energy of the body at C. So what is the total energy of this body? That is kinetic energy of the body at A plus potential energy of the body at A is equal to kinetic energy of the body at B, potential energy of the body at B. Here, as it is rolling down, I need to consider the rolling kinetic energy of this body. Here, the kinetic energy of a body which is rolling is given by half mv square into 1 plus k square by r square. Here, as it is released, the initial velocity is 0. If we substitute V0 here, this expression will become 0. So, what is the kinetic energy of the body at topmost point of the inclined plane? 0. And what is the potential energy of this body? As it is at a height h from the above the surface, I can write this as mgh, which is equal to, what is the kinetic energy of the body on reaching the ground? This is this much, that is half mv square 1 plus k square by r square into plus, what is the potential energy? As it reaches the ground, height of this body from the ground is 0, so I can write this as 0. Now you can cancel m and m, cross multiplying, 2gh is equal v square into 1 plus k square by r square. So this v square will become, you can bring this one down, 2gh by 1 plus k square by r square. So from this, the velocity of this body is given by root over 2gh by 1 plus k square by r square. So this is the velocity of this body on reaching the bottom of this inclined plane. Now in this case, If you know the body here, that means whether it is a ring, disc, cylinder, sphere, what it will be, we can find the velocity of this body on reaching the ground. Now, not only that one, we can find the velocity, not only the acceleration of the body on reaching the ground, the time taken by the body to reach the ground in these cases. Here, if you want to find out the acceleration of this body along this inclined plane, here we know that, let me draw the same body here. This is the body, this is the inclined plane. When the body is moving or sliding along this direction, here without slipping means it has to rotate about this one, it has to move along this path. So combination of these two. So if you take this point here, it is rotating in this direction, but it is moving in this direction. Now, if it is having motion in this direction, there must be some frictional force acting in the opposite direction. Now, this is the radius of this body, R. So, what is the torque acting about the center of this body? So, torque is given by F into R, that is force into distance. But this can also be written as F is equal to Fr is equal to I alpha. Now, what is the frictional force between this surface and this body, which is given by I alpha by R? So, F is equal to, what is I? This is mk square. Why? Because this may be any type of body, that's why I am writing mk square by R into, what is alpha? We know the relation between linear quantities and angular quantities, means quantities in the linear motion or transit motion and quantities in the angular motion or this rotation motion. Now here L is equal to R theta, V is equal to R omega, A is equal to R alpha. So in place of alpha, what I am going to write? Alpha can be written as A by R. So here I am writing A by, I am not going to write capital R only. Now, this is the frictional force. Here you can write m k square A by R square equation 1. Now, as the body is moving like this, we know that what is the force that is bringing this one down, that means dragging force. Here, the force equation is given by, here if it is mg, this will become mg sin theta and this will be mg cos theta. So the driving force in this case is mg sin theta, frictional force is acting upwards. So now the force equation is mg sin theta minus F is equal ma. Now what is this m? Here I am denoting this moment of inertia with the capital M. So let me write this as capital M only, capital M. So this is also capital M. Now mg sin theta minus the frictional force between these two bodies is given by mk square A by R square, m k square A by R square is equal mj. Now you can cancel m. Now this will become g sin theta is equal A plus A k square by R square. You can take A common, 1 plus k square by R square. I want this A. So bring this one down. The acceleration of this body in rolling motion is given by g sin theta by 1 plus k square by R square. Remember students, in sliding, while discussing about the friction, we derived an expression here. The acceleration of this body was g sin theta. But here, it is not only sliding, it is rotating about its own axis. That's why the radius of gyration will come into the picture. Suppose if the body is not rolling, not rotating at all, only sliding, then k should become 0. So how this formula will change? A is equal to g sin theta by 1 only, or g sin theta, the previous expression that we derived. Here also, if there is no rotation, k will become 0. 0 by anything is equal to 0. So this quantity will become 0. V is equal to root over 2gh, velocity of a freely falling body. Similarly, how much time it will take for this body to reach the bottom of this one? So for this I am going to write the distance travelled, that formula x is equal to v naught t plus half at square. But what is x here? L is equal initial velocity 0 half into what is the acceleration? We have to write this formula. Why? Because it is a rolling body. This will become g sin theta by 1 plus k square by r square into t square, cross multiply. So this will become 0, 2 L 1 plus k square by r square by g sin theta is equal to t square, or t is equal to this much. So by using this expression, we can write or we can find time taken by this body to reach the ground. Now, different bodies, so if you consider different bodies here, now first let me take the ring only. If I release a ring here, what is the velocity on reaching ground? What is the acceleration of that ring? How much time it will take to reach the ground? Here, for a ring, moment of inertia is mr square, which is equal to mk square. So he can write k square is equal to r square. Now, what is the velocity for a ring on reaching the ground? V ring is given by root over 2g constant, h is height of this one, by 1 plus k square is equal to r square. This is r square by r square. So which can be given as 1 plus this is also 1, 2 to get cancelled. So velocity of a rolling ring on reaching the ground will become root gh. So what is the acceleration of the ring on reaching the ground for a rolling body? So this will be g sin theta by 1 plus, once again this k square by r square is equal to 1. So answer g by 2 sin theta. Now the third one is time taken by the ring to reach the ground, which is given by root over 2l 1 plus 1, because we know the relation between k and r for a ring, that is k is equal to r square. So this value once again will become 1 by g sin theta. You can see this 1 plus 1 is 2. So this is 4l by g sin theta. If L is given, you can use this one. Otherwise, we have sin theta is equal to h by L. So in place of L, you can write h by sin theta. So here you can write h by sin theta. So this is a root over 4 means you can write 2 h by g. Sin theta into sin theta will become sin square theta under root, which is given by 2 by sin theta root h by g. So this is the time taken by the ring. Similarly, by using this k value, you can find the velocity of the disc on reaching the ground, time taken by this to reach the ground, or the acceleration of a disc on reaching the ground by using the same expressions. And you have to change only that formula for a hollow cylinder or solid cylinder or hollow sphere, solid sphere. Only thing is, if you know the k value or if you know the relation between k and r, you can find these values very easily. Here, a rope is passing over a pulley and the other end of the rope is connected to a bucket. Now, this rope is not fixed somewhere, that is, it is free to move, so it has a lot of length. Now, if you release this bucket here, let us say bucket is moving with an acceleration a. How to find the acceleration of the bucket in this problem? So this pulley is fixed somewhere here to the base, some like this. So as the bucket moves downwards, the pulley rotates, that means it will have rotational motion. So what is the force equation here? We know that as it is connected to a rope, tension always acts towards the point of suspension or towards the center of the pulley. Here also tension will act like this, the tension is pulling this rope from somewhere. Now, here the mass of this bucket, let me take m, and the weight will become mg. As it is moving down, what is the force equation for the bucket? Because we are finding acceleration of bucket. Now we can write mg minus tension is equal to ma, equation 1. Now what is this T? T is the tension in the rope. Here we know that if the radius of the pulley is given by small r, we can write torque is produced here, because why it is rotating? Because of this rope passing over this one. So the tension in the string is applying some torque or producing some torque about the center of the pulley, which is given by F into R. But here what is that force? That is nothing but tau into, that is torque into R. But in general, we know torque tau is equal to I alpha. So what is this torque? I alpha by R. So I am going to substitute that torque equation, that is 2 in equation 1. So this will become mg minus I alpha by R is equal ma. We know that A is equal to R alpha or alpha is equal to A by R. Now this will become mg minus I by R. Alpha is given by A by R is equal to ma. Now I want to find out this A. Here we have one A, here we have one more A. So this equation can be written as mg is equal ma plus, this minus will become plus, I into A by R square. If you take A common here, m plus I by R square. So this is the equation for acceleration. Now if you simplify this one, A can be written as mg by m plus, what is I? I is nothing but mk square by R square. So mg by, if you take m common, 1 plus k square by R square, get cancelled. This will become g by 1 plus k square by R square. This is the acceleration. Directly don't give that as it is falling down, acceleration will become g. Only for a freely falling body, A will become g. But it is not a freely falling body. It is not moving under the gravity, only under the gravity. It is falling under the tension of the string also. Not only the acceleration due to gravity. So one more force is acting, that is controlling the motion of this bucket here. So the acceleration of the bucket is given by g by 1 plus k square by R square. This is the acceleration of this body. As it is disk, you can write for a disk k is equal to R square by 2. So g by 1 plus, this is rho, this pulley is a disk. So k square is equal to R square by 2 by R square cancel. G by 1 plus 1 by 2. So answer will be g by, this is 2 plus 1, 3 by 2. So answer 2g by 3. Suppose in a problem if g is given as 10, you can write this as 20 by 3 meter per second square. Suppose if g is not given, then you have to consider only 9.8.